How you doing, guys? One thing I hate is when somebody tells you they're entitled to their opinion. It could have nothing to do with what you're talking about, but it's gotten to the point when I hear somebody say that, I walk away. If I see it in my comments section, I've gotten into the habit of blocking and deleting that person. Because generally when somebody tells you in the comments section they're entitled to their opinion, it usually has nothing to do with the content of the video. And even though they're pushing their opinion, because they feel entitled to it, they don't realize that you are also entitled to your opinion. But they want to voice theirs, but don't want to hear yours. How many times have you heard Jehovah's Witnesses at the door when they say to the householder, "We're not here to debate"? Which is true. See, even though they're at your house, they came uninvited. They're there to give you their message. They have no interest in your view of the Bible, or your view on religion, or your view on anything. They just want to tell you what they believe. And even though when you're talking to them, they may sit there with a smile on their face, like they're listening, they're really not. They just want to see which way you're going, so that they know how to come back. Remember the reasoning book? Which brings me into the topic of how do people from the outside get lured into this organization to begin with? That was actually brought up in my comments section, where how do outsiders get lured in? Now, people who are born in, when they're kids, they have no choice. When they grow up, they start seeing it for what it is, and it's like, how did you get dragged into this? I did a video some 3 years back about that. To summarize how I got lured in, I had been studying the Bible on my own for some years. I thought I needed help, so I sought out Jehovah's Witnesses. Looking back, I probably didn't need as much help as I had thought at that time. Now, all I was looking for was a Bible study. But we all know how progressive it is. Little by little, you get lured in. Before I knew it, I qualified to be an unbaptized publisher. Then I had qualified for baptism. The day I was baptized, I was seriously depressed and thinking about it. What spirituality I had going into the organization was pretty much dead and buried by the time I was baptized. But the one thing I noticed once I was in was how outsiders got lured in. I was out in service one day, and this woman come back to the car. "Oh, I got a great call." Well, I always wonder what constituted a great call. So she started talking about it. This guy's wife had just died. "I'm going back to bring some pamphlets on the condition of the dead." And I'm like, wow, he's a great call because his wife just died. So I noticed from that point on that they prey on people's pain. So yeah, they're easy victims. They're easy to lure in. The thing is, we've all dealt with death. Whether you're in the organization or out of it, you're going to deal with it sooner or later. But what Jehovah's Witnesses will do at your weakest point in time is hook you and reel you in. That's just one method. I thought that was pretty low. The other were your social outcasts. The people that just are not accepted in society. We all know these people. They're the last ones to get invited to parties. They're the last ones picked for volleyball teams. They're the ones, when you see get-togethers, they're the ones sitting there alone, just holding their hands, looking around, waiting for somebody to come over and talk to them, basically because they don't know how to strike up a conversation. I was out in service. I had known this one couple that were pretty straightforward for Jehovah's Witnesses. They didn't seem like everybody else. They were one of the few couples I actually got along with. And we were out in service, and everybody was out at the door, and I was in the car with this one woman, and she had mentioned to me how many of Jehovah's Witnesses basically are social outcasts. They're pretty much nobodies. And just what I just said, they're the last ones invited to the parties. They don't know how to mold in a society. They don't mix in. And she said to me that this is how they lure them in, because they feel no friends at all. They just feel unwanted. So they come right into the organization. The love bombing lures them right in. Then she said to me, "Why are you here?" I didn't take that as an insult, and she didn't mean it as one, but I started wondering myself about that. I'd already realized that I really didn't need them to help me study the Bible because my spirituality at this point was dead. I was far from a social outcast. I had a happy life outside the organization, a lot happier than my life inside the organization. But when she mentioned that, I started thinking about that. And I started noticing that I was going to less and less of the gatherings because they were nothing more than extended meetings. The conversation was virtually the same, which that's a topic for another video. But these are different ways that people get lured into this organization. Me, I wanted to know the Bible. I probably would have definitely been better off studying on my own because I got the Watchtowerized version of it, which totally screwed up everything. Then we have the people who deal with deaths in the family. That is a favorite one of theirs, and they will circle like sharks as soon as they hear that. Then the social outcast. If you look at most of Jehovah's Witnesses, they're stuck in the org because they can't even deal with the org. Have you ever seen them at the gatherings? Even though they were social outcasts outside of the org, they fell for the love bombing inside the org, but they're still social outcasts. Nobody goes and talks to them. They still sit there waiting for somebody to come and say hello. Then somebody approaches them with a smile, says hello, and they're good for the week. But that's just something I wanted to bring across, guys. It's just pretty damn pathetic. Kind of reminds me of the visit I had a few weeks ago. Like I was desperate for them to come back. Anyways, guys, you have a good day. I will talk to you soon.